All right, coaches, let's dive into something that is, without a doubt, the single most important conversation you'll have with any player. And I'm talking about the very first one. This is where it all begins. It's where you lay the foundation for absolutely everything that follows: trust, growth, and yeah, success. Getting this right, it can change the entire game.
And it really all boils down to this one core idea from Alistair McCow. You have to connect before you direct. Seriously, this is the key to everything we're about to break down. Before you even think about giving technical advice or a game plan, you have to build a real human connection. So let's get into why that's so incredibly important.
Okay, so if connection is the secret sauce, what happens when it's just not there? You know the feeling. I think every coach listening has been through this. You start with a promising new player, the energy is high, there's a lot of excitement, but then, poof, it just fizzles out. Let's really look at why that happens so often.
I mean, it's a story we see all the time, right? You've got the expertise, the player has the talent, but for whatever reason, that partnership just never truly clicks. And honestly, that's just a massive waste of potential for you and for the player. Now, here's what's really interesting. It's almost never because of bad intentions. You both want to succeed, right? The player wants to win, you want to help them. The whole thing usually comes crashing down because of one single critical mistake that's made right at the start.
And here it is. The root cause is almost always this: unclear expectations. When you don't take that crucial time up front to get crystal clear on what each of you expects from this whole partnership, you're basically paving the way for confusion, frustration, and, yeah, eventually failure.
Like Alistair McCow says here, this is totally non-negotiable. You don't just figure this stuff out as you go. Defining roles and clearing up those expectations isn't just step one. It's what has to happen before you even dream of stepping onto the court together.
So, how do we fix this? Well, it's not about learning some new drill or a fancy technique. The solution is actually a fundamental mindset shift in how you approach that first, absolutely critical conversation.
Think about it like this. Your first meeting is not a sales pitch. The old school transactional way of doing things is all about selling yourself, right? Giving a presentation, trying to convince the player. The new approach, the relational approach, is about something completely different. It's about understanding the player, having a real conversation, and just finding out who they are as a person.
Kyle LaCroix just nails it right here. Players need to feel that you are invested in them as a person, not just as a backhand or a serve. When they sense that you're genuinely trying to build a partnership, not just close a deal, that's when you start to build the foundation for a relationship that can actually go the distance. Okay, so we've got the right mindset. That's great. But how do we actually put it into action? Well, it really comes down to asking the right questions. This is your toolkit for building that connection and getting that clarity right from day one.
Carlos Rodriguez gives us 3 questions that you absolutely have to ask. First, what does success look like to you? This gets to their goals. Second, why do you want to work with me? This helps you understand how they see you and your strengths. And third, what are your expectations for me as a coach and as a person? This is all about defining the relationship. Getting these answers opens the door to some real understanding.
Now, for more advanced players, David Semmel suggests we dig a little deeper. Asking about their coaching philosophy can tell you a lot about what has and what definitely hasn't worked for them in the past. And asking what they want to work on first, that gives you a direct window into their self-awareness and their immediate priorities.
And this all leads to a really crucial point from Jeff Coetzee. If you don't understand the person, you will never, ever truly understand the player. It's that simple. If your goals and their goals are out of sync from the start, that partnership is pretty much destined to fail. That's why being upfront and putting everything on the table is so, so important. So how do you really get to know the person behind the player? Chris Sutar gives us a pretty clear roadmap here. Ask about their background, what's motivated them in the past, their life outside of tennis. Look, these aren't nosy questions. They are the essential building blocks for a deep and trusting relationship. Okay, so we've covered the why and the what. Now let's lock in the how. Here is a super simple, actionable framework you can literally use in your very next meeting with a potential player. It's a simple 3-step process you can use every single time. Step 1, ask those powerful open-ended questions. Step 2, listen. And I mean really listen. Then reflect back what you heard. A simple phrase like, okay, so what I'm hearing is, can be an absolute game changer. And finally, step 3, build that list of expectations together. This isn't you laying down the law. It's a mutual agreement, a partnership.
And just remember, this whole process, it's not a Q&A session. It's not an interrogation. The real goal here is to build a rock-solid foundation of trust. Because let's be honest, without that trust, nothing else you do on the court is really going to matter. Now, before we wrap this up, let's turn the lens back on ourselves for a second. We've talked a lot about the questions to ask the player, but the last, and maybe the most important question, is one you have to ask yourself. Are you, as the coach, truly prepared for these conversations? Because being truly prepared means being ready to ask the tough questions, the ones that tackle potential problems head on. Asking something like this isn't being negative, it's being a professional. It builds clarity before a crisis can even start. And that, right there, is what separates the good coaches from the great ones. It's how you build a partnership that is truly built to last.